Do you feel that in a time when we are more connected than ever, we are drifting away from real human connections, especially to ourselves? I do. Hi, I'm Leticia Latino, and I want to invite you to join me and my very inspiring guests in exploring ways to reconnect to your essence, to your definite purpose, to what makes you tick. Are you ready? Hello, everybody. Today is December 24th, 2020. And as I've done 2 other years since we've been on the air, I wanted to take advantage of the day and share some thoughts with you about the holiday season. With the distinction that this year, release date, which is normally on Thursdays, is really actually the day that December 24th falls in. So I take it as a very special occasion. And I'm going to be honest with you, you probably that the recording doesn't sound great, sounds a little different. I'm taping it straight into my computer with no headset, just very spontaneous. As I were doing things around the house to prepare for Christmas, I thought that during my life, I have always been very diplomatic about my faith and my religion. You heard maybe before in one of the episodes, I was raised Catholic. I went to all non-school for pretty much like 17 years. So let's say religion was instilled in me very early on. But, I've had my own journey with religions. And so even if I always say I'm very set in what I believe in, and the core of the Catholic faith is Jesus, and I will never doubt his existence and his story. I'm also a practical person, and I know there's part of the story that sound a little, kind of hard to believe and all that. So because of that, I've always been on a quest of learning more. And so I want to share on this episode a few things about what has strengthened my faith during the path, but also what has made me, I believe, a very inclusive person in terms of I don't mind. I have tons of Jewish friends because I went to a university in Venezuela that, there were too many universities, well, three really, but the ones that had, the business career and so on, there were the Catholic University and then the one I went to. So obviously people of non-Catholic faith probably avoided to go to that one. So by default, I ended up in a place where I saw a little bit of everything. And that gave me an open-mindedness that I appreciate because I think the core of all religions and all spiritual paths are really inherently about being good, being a good human being, embracing good values. So I think all religions can agree on that. I don't think there's one religion, and yeah, there's some radical beliefs that accept certain things that other religions don't. But I think at the core of all spiritual journeys and religions is, you have to be good. Don't do to others what you don't want done to you. And, one of the spiritual paths that I've been most attracted to is Buddhism. And I say it without shame. Some Catholics will think I'm crazy for this because there are people that say you have to believe in what you believe. But I'm an explorer. I'm a discoverer. I like to learn from different perspectives. So I have read a bunch of Buddhist books, and I think that we can agree that a lot of the teachings are very, very similar. But what I want to share with you today is about my own approach to Christmas and my own approach to my faith, because it's something that in an effort not to be, confrontational or maybe just to stay on the safe path, I don't bring religion up a lot. And not so much for me, because as I say, I'm very accepting of all paths, but I know there's some people that get very defensive once they realize maybe you believe in something a little bit different than they do. But today's Christmas is going to be Christmas Eve. and tomorrow is Christmas Day. And we do have to admit that the world, one way or the other, stops on this festivity, on this holiday. Being that you believe in Jesus or not, I think most religions accept the fact that Jesus existed, that some call him a prophet, some call him other things. But, I don't think it's really disputed the fact that he existed. He came to us. And I got a message from my school, my kids' school, the other day, and they do go to Catholic school, because I thought for me, it gave me so many good values, about how to be a good person in general. I think that I'm a good person. That I thought there's nothing, nothing can be bad about trying to give them the same things, despite or regardless of the faith itself. And so, as you might have heard, we had a winter solstice happening on December 21st. And basically, what happened is that the two largest planets in our solar system came closer together. And they haven't been this close since the Middle Ages. Basically, I think somewhere in 1600 and something. And these two planets are Jupiter and Saturn. And just this past, 2 days ago, the 21st, 3 days ago, they appear so closely aligned in the sky that basically they form this conjunction. They call it the conjunction. And this is the effect that is believed to have formed the Christmas star, which is the same event that happened in the sky when Jesus was born in Bethlehem. And that is believed to be the star that the wise men followed to find Jesus in the manger. If you imagine, if you went out and looked at it, I saw it and I said, wow, that is bright. And when you read the story about the wise men and you read about this bright star guiding them, wow, it sounds a little like, well, yeah, whatever, and then you see this event in the sky and you see that it happens so close to Christmas celebration, and you wonder. Then it makes you think that just in our current time, when Jesus was born, there was violence, there was chaos, there was political and social unrest. Those were not easy times neither. It was a time where it was dark. And, Jesus's birth was taken eventually as, the guy that stepped into the chaos and brought peace and brought some sort of awakening. And so if you think about where we are in 2020 and the things we're dealing with a hopeless almost situation with this pandemic and with violence and with chaos and with racism and all these things that we're dealing with. And the winter solstice, or the December 21st, is one of the darkest days of the year. And yet, Jupiter and Saturn met, giving us the Christmas star. So I think it's a great and beautiful way to remind us all that even in the darkest times, light and hope can step in and will step in. And regardless of your faith, there's hope out there. And there's these things that the universe does for us that remind us of that. And with that said, I want to share with you maybe there's probably two stories that have given me that light in times of darkness and relate to also religion. I'm definitely a big fan of Jesus, but I'm a big fan of the Virgin Mary. I have always had a very big affinity to her. I don't know if it's the nuns back in school that planted that in me and us growing up, making her a great example as a woman. And I can agree, as a woman, if you listen to the story of Mary, it's really someone that was selfless. It's someone that always was looking to serve others, to accept God's will, no matter what. Even if you don't believe in the story, but think about how moms are, how we are as women. We do anything for our kids. We if you're a family-centered woman, you would do anything for your family. You would put others first. That's really what Mary did. So it's a great example. It's a great example, even in a story, even when you can argue that wasn't true, just the story of Mary. is inspirational. And so I've always been very devout to the Virgin Mary in all her denominations. I've done pilgrimage to Fatima and Lourdes and Guadalupe, and I mean the energy you feel is just out of belief. It's just an energy you cannot reciprocate. But there's two stories that have really marked my life in a big way, and I want to share them with you. So the first one, and the reason, mind you, why I don't want to bother you making this episode a little different, but the reason why I want to mark them with you is because I believe that, call it God, call it Mary, call it the universe, call it the greater energy, it communicates with us one way or another. And we need to be sensitive to messages that we receive, to things that happen. I'm a firm believer of this. So I want to share with you, back in 98, I had been living in Miami for a year and a half. I was basically alone because I didn't have any family when I moved to Miami, and I wasn't dating anybody. So it was a very lonely period in my life for the first time, because I've been very social all my life. So it was, when you move to a new city, doing my master's, which I was studying a lot. Well, in any case, I remember it was August, the month of August, and for whatever reason, one day I was home alone and I felt that I needed to pray the rosary. Mind you, I had prayed at school many times, but I didn't remember how to pray it. I knew more or less the dynamics of it, but I couldn't, if I had to start it and say it, I wouldn't know. But I grabbed my rosary, like I felt the need to do it, and I started praying the rosary. I had to get my booklet, whatever. A few days later, Lady Di died, which was something that was very shocking. And this has nothing to do, but just that you imagine the circumstances, because I think everybody can remember what they were when they heard those news. They were so shocking. And then the father of one of my best friends died. And it was just such a strange period. I felt that Mary was calling me to pray. And so a month goes by, and during that month, I was just praying the rosary so much. I couldn't understand it, but it was making me feel good. So I was praying, praying, praying. And then comes September 22nd, which is my mother's birthday. And I get the worst call someone can get, really, which is my parents, who were in Italy for my cousin's wedding, had a terrible, terrible car accident, 13 cars in a dark tunnel. They were the last car going in. And so they were with my uncle and aunt, which were the father and mother of the groom, going to the wedding. And, that call was devastating, because I was across the ocean, and there was nothing I could do. And that day, I realized why I had been praying the rosary. And even today, I realized why I had prayed the rosary. And I had no doubt in my heart that was Mary telling me to prepare, or prompting me to prepare, because I was going to have a very, very tough test ahead of me. And so, long story short, my parents were in Italy for 2 months. My dad in intensive care for most of that time. He had internal bleeding. He really, basically, is a miracle that he's alive. My mom, she had many, many issues. She had multiple fractures. She lost a little bit of one of her legs in bone, so she has a limp after that accident. And yeah, you heard right, that all happened on her birthday. So this was a massive event in my family that really changed a little bit our family after that. So after that particular event, what I took with me is obviously a gratefulness to having had the rosary, because it really kept me sane. I would pray when my brother called me, and they kept me in those 2 months. I knew half the truth. So there were moments where things got really nasty for me, like from one day to the other, because I had been privy of the information, and then they would tell me, oh, well, that is, most likely he won't make this surgery, and they're making me sign this paper. My brother told me at 4 a.m. in the morning one night that he might not survive the surgery. And I wanted to call you and let you know because, I cannot live with myself otherwise. And then you hang up the phone on the other side of the world. What do you do? Well, grab my rosary and keep praying, keep praying. And I'm very grateful for that company. And what stayed with me after that is that we have to pray. If you believe, if you have faith or anything, to whatever energy, meditate. Do it even when you don't need it. Do it to be thankful, because I think my faith gets strengthened then, because many times where I feel tired and I don't want to go to mass and I don't want to do this and that. And I remember how I had that as my salvation, basically, tool at that time, the prayer. And so it always stayed with me. Don't pray, Letty, don't pray when you need it. Pray when you just have to be grateful. That's the best prayer. When you don't need anything from the universe, when you don't need anything from the entities you believe in. And so that stayed with me, and I'm very grateful. And that's one way Mary manifested in my life that I will never forget. The other story I want to share with you today, on Christmas Eve, and I'm sorry, Jesus, I'm talking about Mary, but she's your mom, so you will forgive me for this. But so this is a funny story. So I have heard from a friend of mine that the Virgin Mary was doing manifesting somewhere in Costa Rica, and by manifesting means she was appearing to people in Costa Rica. And I was traveling there for work very often. So I was there with my father for a business meeting. And our partner there was a Jewish guy. He knew my dad for many years. And so we go to the meeting. And then after that, we hear that we're going to have a few hours where we can do whatever we want. And so naive me, I think, well, I'm going to ask around where this place that the Virgin Mary is appearing. If she's appearing, everybody's going to know about it, because I'm thinking, Lourdes or Fatima or these places where everybody knew, right? And when I tell our partner, he tells me, where you want to, I knew the region in Costa Rica where she was appearing. And so he tells me that's like 2 hours away. And I said, well, don't worry, you guys do your thing. I'm going to go. And I hadn't told him why I wanted to go there. And he said, no, we have time. Let's just get in the car. It's going to be a nice road trip. So we get in the car, and as we are, driving in the countryside, and then the unavoidable question came, which is, why do you want to come here? Mind you, my dad, again, he's Catholic, but he's not at all practicing, and he is not the biggest believer. So I would say he's very, he's Catholic because his family raised him that way, but he's not very spiritual. So imagine my dad when I have to tell the Jewish partner driving us across the country, like 2 hours away from the main city, San Jose, that I had heard that the Virgin Mary was appearing somewhere in the countryside, and I didn't have the address, but I thought I was going to find her. There was silence in the car, and it was very uncomfortable. And so as we were approaching there, we stopped at a police station where I got off the car and I asked, and of course they look at me like I'm crazy. I had to go back in the car, up to the next store, which was the next stop, which was a little supermarket, very rural. Again, same response. So I'm getting for the second time in the car, having to say no one has heard nothing. And then we get close to the main little town that, it was like San Jose de Grecia is the name. I will never forget. And we get to the town, and from there, really, I wouldn't have any other clue. Like, I knew it was in that vicinity of San Jose de Grecia that she was appearing. And so we see a church, and the partner said, well, if they don't know here, I don't know where they would know. And so we stop in the church, and I get off the car, very nervous. I look for the lady that, in my opinion, looked as the most religious person in the town. And I go and ask her, and she basically laughed at me and told me, oh my God, people, they really come up with the craziest stories. And my disappointment was so huge because these were people of faith, people coming out of mass. And there I was, with my little crazy story, but I honestly thought I was going to get a very different answer. So I had to walk back to the car and explain to my dad and the partner that no one had a clue and basically we had wasted the trip. So I get in the car and they were very nice about it. I have to say they didn't, make fun of me, but I was so disappointed. And this town was like literally two roads, right? So as he drives away and he's finding his way out of the town, we get into this one street, one way street basically, and at the end of that street there's a huge image of the Virgin Mary, and there's a gardener cleaning it. And I kid you not, if you've ever read the Bible, this could be a scene or a passage out of the Bible or one of those movies you watch, the guy cleaning the thing, very mystical. The statue was beautiful. So, we get there, we can have no way to go but other to back up. And I get out the car and I say, well, my dad says, well, maybe this guy knows. I mean, there's a Virgin Mary there, and maybe he knows. So I get out the car and right there go to the guy and ask him, hey, and I tell him the story. Have you heard anything about this and blah blah? And I tell him the whole story. And he said, no, miss, I haven't heard it, but she's right here in front of you. So why would you look for her any further? And my mouth dropped, literally. I realized he was true. He was right. And, I had my moment. I said my prayer. When I got back in the car to kind of explain again, I was even a little defensive, almost like to explain, this guy doesn't know anything. The Jewish partner and my father were out of words. The impact this event had on my father, even today, was of a force that was so big that even if I had found a place, my father would have never had been impacted the way he was impacted, because the fact that I found the Virgin Mary in the most incredible of ways on a one-way street. When do you go to a one-way street? I mean, that barely happens anymore. And the fact that it was a Virgin Mary. And so both of them were extremely touched by this story. So was I. As time has gone by, I have realized, and my dad would admit to this, he has told me this. This was something that happened because of him, because it really was proof that when you believe no matter what, and when you're willing to go to the extreme, and when you are willing to be laughed at for something you believe in, and this is again, take this story out of the religious context and go and put it in your business, in your dreams, in anything you're doing, and you're willing to be ridiculed, and you're willing to just do what you think is good and what you want to do, then things like this happen that remind you that somewhere out there, somehow, the universe is reacting, the higher force, the people you believe in. And so those are my two stories, and they have been in my heart since they happened. That's why I'm a big fan of Mary. But I want to invite you to think about your own life, about those circumstances that have seemed a little bit strange, that something has happened that almost seem paranormal in essence. And to just consider maybe whatever it is that higher energy you believe in is trying to communicate with you. And when we are able to tap into that trust that there's a bigger plan, a master plan, somehow something that we are supposed to fulfill, our life prophecy, if you will, that we have, of course, power into modifying. I don't believe that something's written and that's it. I really don't believe in that. I believe that we have the tools and the potential to transform our lives into whatever it is that we wanted to transform it. But I do believe some people, just because of the craziness of every day, they miss. I almost missed it on that story I just told you, when I was so focused on finding the place that I was almost missing the mark as to she was right there trying to communicate with me. And it was someone else pointing it out that did the trick. So as 2021 comes in, let's try to focus on those things, on those little details, and see what happens. And also, the other thought I wanted to share is let's make the holidays about what is important. Again, if you're not a Christian, you don't believe in Jesus, make it about family and being together. If you are a Christian, then let's make it about what really it is. It is Jesus' birth. And he's the important one, not the gifts, not the Santa, not all these things that unfortunately the marketing machine of society has made us believe that they are important. We are going crazy buying gifts. And let's remember, why are we buying gifts? Why is it so special? Why do we have a holiday today? And if you don't believe, just in the story of Jesus, just make a break in your life and just make it about something special. Let's not just go through the motions of exchanging gifts and going crazy and just being an automatic pilot, because I don't think it's really about that. It's about finding the meaning in things, and the meaning in family, and the meaning in giving value to the important things, the back to basics things, as I call them: love, compassion, kindness, being good to each other, being of service to each other, seeing how we can help. And that's always something that I have in my list for next year, is how can I help others. So to close this very special episode, where I kind of share for the first time my religious views, my faith, what I believe in, I want to invite a very special guest here with me, and it's my almost 6-year-old daughter, Emma. Hello, Emma.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Well, Mommy has this podcast, and I share with some people my thoughts on things.
Yeah.
So because today is Christmas Eve, I want to share your thoughts about Christmas. What do you think about Christmas, Emma?
It's really fun. Santa gave us presents, and my favorite part of it is about Jesus.
Why is that your favorite part?
Because I love Jesus.
And why is that?
Because Jesus made us.
And do you think today is a special day for Jesus?
Yeah, because it's almost Christmas, and tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And it is his birthday.
Is Jesus' birthday?
Yeah.
And do you have a gift for him?
Yeah, and it is love.
Oh, that's very nice, Emma. It's about giving to other people.
Mm-hmm.
What's your prayer for Christmas Eve?
The one that I do in school. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed art thou among all women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and the hour of our death. Amen.
Great. Thank you, Emma. Anything else you want to say? There's a lot of people listening to you right now. You want to say anything else?
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Emma. Thank you for being in Back to Basics. Well, and now I have my firstborn, just turned 10 years old, and he's a force to be reckoned with. Little actor, funny guy, model, Mr. Christian Van Splunteren. Hello, Christian.
Hi.
How are you, buddy?
Really good?
Really good?
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I was talking to your little sister about Christmas and her thoughts on it. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Christmas, Christian?
I think it's probably going to be really hard. The fact that it's going to be COVID and then having to test and then having to hang out with your family, because it's just spending 3 hours in line isn't very fun. You have to get together and then set up some event that you don't get to do every once in a while, because since now there's COVID, there's less chance and not as many families are, getting to do that. And it's not gonna be fun for all of those families. And so we're lucky that we get to hang out with our family, and I'm lucky I have such a good one.
Oh, that's very sweet. And what about the celebration itself? What are we celebrating, and what are your thoughts on the actual Christmas Eve celebration?
So I think people got too deep into Christmas. So with Santa and the elves and the reindeers, we're not focusing on the main reason, which is, Jesus Christ. And I think we should focus more on that because all of the Christmas decorations, the pine trees never had to do anything with Christmas. They just made up some pine tree kind of thing, and then they just went on with it. It doesn't have to do anything with like the actual Christmas. It's not really spiritual.
Well, that's quite deep. I'm laughing because none of this is prepared, guys. And so, is there anything in particular you want to, be thankful for this Christmas day?
That our family has all negatives and tests, and that we are all safe.
That's very nice. And Christian, that your name, although we never chose it for the religion meaning, but it's quite special.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I love people calling me Christian, and I could say what, because when they say I'm Christian, I should say what. No, you're not Christian. I'm Christian.
Well, that's funny. Okay, you want to say anything fun to close? To anybody listening out there, any future plans for 2021? Anything fun, Christian?
Subscribe to my channel.
What? You're doing cross promotion here on my platform? Well, this is who he is. But yeah, he has a YouTube channel under Christian Van Splunteren and has so many fun videos. And what else do you want to do? Is there anything else you want to do other than your channel, gaming channel you mentioned?
I want to get a computer, so once that comes out, maybe you guys should make one. No, maybe you guys should subscribe to it.
Okay, well, I keep telling my audience to subscribe to your channel. Thank you so much.
Also, subscribe to my mom's.
Well, thank you. Thanks, my love. Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, so there you have it. That's my own kids' thoughts on Christmas. So to be honest with you, I'm a little shocked that Emma just prayed the Hail Mary. So having shared what I shared with you earlier in this episode, I'm going to take it as a sign that Mary's still with me in every step of the way, and she's still such a positive influence in everything I do. And with that, I want to wish you a safe and healthy and happy Christmas. And thank you for all you've supported me this year in Back to Basics. I look so much forward 2021, what we can achieve together, what we can inspire each other just by showing up in your loved ones' lives. Just show up for someone that loves you and support them. And more importantly, show up for you and support you. So as you gather those thoughts and those dreams and those things you would love to see achieved in 2021, just be your biggest cheerleader. You can do anything you set your heart to do. So I think that's that. Merry, Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate it. Happy holidays. Whatever your religion is, that's not the important thing. The important thing is to going and staying back to basics. Take this time to do that. And I will talk to you next week as we prepare for ringing in 2021. Take care, everybody, and thank you again. Leticia Latino, over and